Hey everybody, this is William from the Godzilla Files, coming at you today with a new movie review, and today we're going to be looking at Ghidorah, the three-headed space monster. So I wanted to do this movie because Godzilla, King of the Monsters is coming out pretty soon, so I thought this would be a great time to look back at this movie and really kind of talk about the things I think really work well. So, sit back and enjoy. Let's just get this out of the way now. This is one of the best Godzilla movies and probably one of the best kaiju movies ever made. There is so much here that I think works. This was when Toho was really doing a great job producing these kaiju films. When you think about the fact that this came after Mothra vs. Godzilla, which is also another classic, they're really firing on all cylinders. The characters themselves are all very interesting, and that's one of the things that I have to say about these early Showa films. All the characters are doing something. They're not just standing around and watching the kaiju fight. They always have something happening with them that they have to deal with. So to me, I think that's one of the strongest points of this film is the human characters. And I know a lot of people don't watch these for the humans, but I do think it should be mentioned that this is definitely a strong human story as well. And continuing with the human story just for a little bit longer, I love the fact that they are actually talking about how the government is going to handle these kaiju. Obviously, there is some continuity in these films. It is a little loose, but it's really interesting to hear them talk about what their plan is for stopping Ghidorah. They even say they've been dealing with kaijus for many years now. So what are they going to do with this new threat? So I really do like that. I think it's something that I hope the new Godzilla film does as well, because I think it's an interesting idea that these governments have to learn how to live with these kaiju. It's only touched briefly here, but I still think it was a really cool idea. And talking about continuity, one of the things that I really do like is that all the kaiju were found where we last saw them. So Godzilla was in the ocean, he fell into it in Mothra vs. Godzilla. Mothra was chilling out on the island, and Rodan was found in the volcano, just like where he was in the end of his film. So that's really cool. I do love the fact that there is some continuity with these films. It is, I don't want to say a cinematic universe, but it's something very similar to that. Sticking with the kaiju, I have to say they all look amazing. Godzilla himself looks really good. I have no complaints. Mothra versus Godzilla is always my favorite design, but this one here is a great tweak to that whole entire suit. So, I think if you liked him from his last film, you're going to love him in this one. Now, I would have to say one of the disappointing things is that he doesn't look as tough. While he still comes off threatening, he definitely feels more heroic in many different ways, and that makes sense because by the end of the film he is a hero and he does have a little bit more human characteristics to him, and the suit definitely reflects that in my opinion. The next suit that I want to talk about is Rodan. So this is the first time we see Rodan in the Godzilla series, and I actually really do like his look in the Godzilla series. Later on, yes, they kind of tweak it maybe a little bit too much, but for this film the suit looks very good. And while maybe the original Rodan is still considered everyone's fan favorite, I think this is still a great start, and I always thought this was a different Rodan, so it made sense to me why he looked different. Mothra herself, and she is a female, I don't know why the dub for some reason decides to say him, it just seems weird to me, but Mothra herself looks good as well. There isn't too much to her because she is her larva stage. It's definitely a classic Mothra look. Definitely nothing wrong with that. And finally, we have King Ghidorah himself, the new kaiju on the block. And Toho hit it out of the park. This is such a great looking kaiju and really also unique because at the time there was nothing really like him. I think Toho really came up with a classic design, and there's a reason why he is such a huge fan favorite. This movie makes you realize he is a real threat, and it's really cool to kind of see him have a personality, him being this destructive force. He's not being controlled by anyone, so that's also really cool to see. This is probably the only movie in the Godzilla series that Ghidorah isn't being controlled by someone. So obviously we talked about all the kaiju, which means there are definitely a lot of kaiju battles. I want to talk a little bit about them. I think these are some of the best fights in the whole entire Godzilla series because I just feel like it works on so many different levels. Like everyone gets a chance to shine. Ghidorah isn't being beaten down, he still seems like a threat. Granted there's some weird things, like Godzilla really likes throwing rocks and kicking rocks when he could use his atomic breath, but for some reason in this movie he doesn't use his atomic breath all that much. So you have so many different combinations of battles that it's all exciting. When Godzilla's fighting Rodan, like when you see Mothra fighting and she is getting beaten by Ghidorah, that brings all the kaiju together to try to stop King Ghidorah. And that works very well because they do such a good job at making you see that she has no chance against this three-headed monster. So if you're looking for great kaiju action, this movie definitely has it, and you really can't go wrong. I think all the effects, everything just look amazing. One thing that I really did like about this film is that they started adding comedy, and we really see that in some of the actual fights themselves, like Godzilla being dropped on the power lines. That's aiming right at his private area, and it's funny. Like, I don't know why they kept it. I'm sure because they didn't have enough money to go back and redo the whole entire scene, so they just kept it. But it was kind of funny. Ghidorah also hits Godzilla in his private parts as well. Like, it's just, there's a lot of funny moments in this movie, and it comes from the humans and also the kaiju. So I don't know why they decided to start adding comedy in this one, but I do like it. I think it really works. And even in the dubbed version, when the monsters are all talking, there's like funny moments in there. And I think it works because it's not overbearing. Like, it's not so extreme that it kind of makes a joke of everything. There are serious moments in this film, but there are also moments, to make you laugh, because it is a kaiju film at the end of the day. I can go on and on about this film, but it is so good, and I think most people know it already. I'm pretty sure everyone has this in their top 10 somewhere. To me, the music, kaiju battles, the humans, everything really works. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely do recommend it. I think it would be a great watch, especially right before the new Godzilla film. This film is sort of the prototype to what's coming out. I'm sure the new one is going to be really cool with all new, CGI and different stories, but this is really where it all starts, this huge monster battle. And I'm really excited to see it in the new film. No matter where you see it, it's still amazing, whether it's back in the day in 1965 or if it's in 2019. I think these kaiju fighting each other is always entertaining, and honestly, you can't go wrong. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you guys think of this film? Is this one of your favorites? I'm always interested to hear what you think, and as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you all later.